All right, let's discuss this further. And I'm joined by the Hawks spokesperson, that's Brigadier Hangwani Mulaudzi. And we also are joined by the DA's Glynis Breitenbach. And we also have the UDM leader, Bantu Wolomisa. Let me start with Hangwani Mulaudzi. Mr. Mulaudzi, thank you very much for making time to speak to us. We know that you are at the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court. That's on a different matter. But let's speak about this Ace Magashule issue first. Has your office received any communique from the lawyers representing Mr. Magashule about a possible arrest warrant against him?
No, I think it's still too early to talk about any correspondence. We have had communication that there's going to be correspondence that will be coming to us. So we are still waiting for that. So it's still early days to talk about any correspondence in the office now.
Okay, so it's too early to talk about any correspondence. Are you saying, though, that something is imminent?
Well, yeah, we've heard. You're talking about the correspondence, or you're talking about something else?
I'm talking about both the correspondence that you might possibly get from Magashule's office, or whether the arrest warrant itself is actually prepared and it's just waiting to be served on Mr. Magashule.
Well, in terms of the correspondence, I think we have dealt with that one. When it comes to the warrant of arrest, we are on record to say that we are not aware of any warrant of arrest that has been issued against Mr. Ace Magashule. We were very shocked last night when we saw the report from the IOL claiming that there are sources within the Hawks that are actually confirming that. So from our own official official response as the DPCI, we want to categorically distance ourselves from such a report. And you would know, Kolani, that every time or any time when there are such issues that would be ventilated in the space or there are any imminent arrest, we follow due processes in terms of making sure that the accused are duly informed in time and their lawyers are also informed, so that we can have a seamless, matters that can be done seamlessly. But for any person to make such claims in the public space, I think it's very dangerous and very irresponsible. And
that's exactly what I'm going to ask you next. Have you seen this before? Is this something that's happened where someone suspects that they might be arrested and they approach law enforcement, like, for example, the Hawks, and ask, am I going to be arrested? Is this something that's ever been seen before?
Well, it has happened before. There are many cases that we have dealt with. But this one, I think it's very much disturbing in the sense that it came out very late in the evening. At the same time, one has to be inundated with a lot of phone calls. If there was anything, we would have, dealt with this more professionally. But for now, we want to clear out this allegation that the Hawks were never involved in such a report. And if there is any investigation that has to be made, I think the national head and the NDPP will deal with that one. Yeah,
Mr. Mlaudzi, you say that this is actually quite strange. We were interviewing the lawyer for Mr. Magashule on the AM report. That's our morning show. And he stated very clearly himself that how the procedure works is that if someone is going to be arrested, they go to court, get the necessary warrant, and then they inform that person's lawyer that indeed there is something that is going to happen, or they must actually take their client to the nearest police station, or if the person is a flight risk, then you simply pounce on that particular person. In this instance, which procedure would you possibly go for? Could Mr. Magashule, if indeed a warrant of arrest is going to be issued against him, could he be a flight risk?
Yeah, look, within our environment, that's how we operate. We operate with dignity. We make sure that the the rights of the accused is always protected. So we always make sure that if there is any correspondence that we have to send to the lawyer or speak to them directly, that is how we do it. If it's a matter that deals with serious organized crime, of course, takes another fashion. But in this case, cases of this nature, Xolani, these are cases where we are able to speak directly with the lawyers.
All right. Final question, and very briefly, Mr. Mlaudzi. Mr. Magashule clearly has not and is not about to be served anything in as far as your comments are concerned. Do you view this kind of action as intimidation against yourselves? Mr. Magashule is no small-time player. He's a heavyweight politician in this country, and he leads the governing party of this country. Is this intimidation?
No, we view it as a move by whoever to undermine the DPCI. I'm sure people are seeing what we are doing recently, and I'm sure that there might be other people who are not happy with what we are doing, but this will not stop us from doing what is necessary. Intimidation or not, we have a responsibility. We are a law enforcement agency, and we will make sure that those who are found to have been in the wrong, they are brought to court. So this won't stop us from what we are supposed to do.
All right, Mr. Mlaudzi, very, very quickly, I know I said it was the last question, but you are in Palm Ridge, and we understand it's got to do with the VBS matter. What exactly is happening there today?
Well, I think we should have to wait because we still also have to get a briefing from the prosecutors and the investigators. But as you could see, your team is here, and I'm sure once this has been ventilated inside the court, we'll be able to know exactly what is transpiring. But it is something that is critical when it comes to this case of the VBS, yes.
Okay, Hangwani Mulaudzi, thank you very much for making the time to speak to us. He speaks for the Hawks.